You thief! Lena's voice cuts through the music like broken glass. The ballroom in the Cavendish mansion is all crystal light and silk laughter, yet the shout freezes every smile in place. Isabella stands near the long table of gifts, her hands empty, her posture straight. She has only been back in this world for 3 months. 3 months of learning where to place her fork, how to walk through rooms that are not hers yet, how to smile at people who look at her like a rumor. Lena points at Isabella's handbag. Search it, right now. She came here from nowhere, and she thinks she can steal grandfather's heirloom on his birthday. The guards hesitate. Cameras flash. Whispers multiply. Alastair Cavendish sits at the head table, shoulders heavy under the weight of his name. His eyes move from Lena to Isabella, and the room waits to see who he believes. Isabella lifts her chin. If you want to accuse me, show proof. If you want a scene, do it alone. Lena laughs, sharp and bright. Proof is already in your bag. A guard steps forward, opens the handbag, and the room gasps as a diamond necklace slides out, bright as ice, heavy as a verdict. It hits the carpet and keeps shining. Lena spreads her hands like a saint. There it is, the Cavendish star, the necklace my grandmother wore, the necklace we never take out unless it is family, and she carries it like a street souvenir. Isabella does not flinch. She watches the necklace, then looks at the faces around her. The rich guests want drama. The board members want stability. The staff wants safety. Everyone wants something. Alastair's voice lowers. Isabella, tell me this is not true. It is not true. Isabella answers with a calm that feels like a blade. But I will not ask you to trust my words. I will show you what your granddaughter did. Lena's eyes narrow. What did you say? Isabella gestures once. Samuel Walker moves from the shadow near the doorway, carrying a tablet. He taps the screen, then turns it toward Alastair. On the tablet, the security footage plays. The camera angle is high, silent, merciless. It shows Isabella stepping away from her handbag to greet an aunt she barely knows. It shows Lena drifting closer with a smile. It shows Lena's fingers sliding the necklace into the open handbag, smooth and practiced. It shows Lena walking away as if she has done nothing at all. The ballroom turns colder. Lena snaps. That is fake. You can edit anything. Isabella keeps her eyes on Alastair. This is the main hall camera. The file is time-stamped. The server is in your office. Ask your head of security who has access. The head of security swallows. Only family and the chairman. Alastair's jaw tightens. Lena. Lena's lips tremble. Then she lifts her chin, refusing to fall. Even if I did it, she still does not belong here. She is not one of us. Isabella takes a breath, as if she is giving the room one last chance to be decent. Then she reaches into her clutch and places a sealed folder on the table. This is the kinship report. She speaks clearly, letting the words land. It shows my relation to Alastair Cavendish. It shows I am his granddaughter. The room erupts again, but Isabella is not done. She places a small recorder next to the folder. And this is the call, from 23 years ago. A call between Martha Hale and Roger Petro. A call about switching 2 newborn girls. Lena's face drains. No, you cannot have that. Isabella presses play. A woman's voice fills the room, older and rough, hungry with resentment. A man's voice answers, smooth with plans. They talk about money, about gates that stay closed, about a baby that can open them. They talk about a crib in a private hospital room. They talk about a nurse who looks away. Alastair rises so fast his chair scrapes the floor. Who is Martha Hale? A silence, then a murmur. The staff whisper a name. The older guests remember. A former household worker who disappeared years ago. Samuel steps aside. 2 guards escort a woman into the ballroom. Martha Hale is dressed plainly, hair pinned tight, eyes flat as stones. Lena runs to her, tears bursting like a show she has rehearsed for years. Mom, please. Tell them she is lying. Tell them I am your daughter and I did not mean it. Please, you cannot let them throw me away. Martha looks down at Lena as if she is looking at a stain. A bastard does not get to call me mother. Martha's voice is cold enough to cut. I put you in that crib so you could escape your blood. I did not do it so you could grow arrogant and stupid. You framed the real heiress. You humiliated the family that fed you. Now you want me to die for you. Lena staggers back. You used me. Martha's mouth twists. Everyone uses what they can. The room is chaos now. Guests speak at once. Phones record. Board members exchange looks. Alistair grips the folder, his knuckles white. Isabella steps closer, her voice steady in the storm. I did not come here to beg. I came here to take back what was stolen. My name, my life, my place in this family. And I came to stop this from happening to anyone else. Alistair looks at her and something shifts behind his eyes. Not softness. Not yet. But recognition. He turns to Lena. You will leave this room. Lena's scream breaks out of her like an animal. I am Cavendish. I have always been Cavendish. She is nothing. Isabella watches her fall and feels no joy. Only a fierce, quiet certainty. The war has started and she is ready. The next morning, the mansion feels like a courtroom. The chandeliers shine, but no one admires them. Staff walk softly. Lawyers arrive with briefcases. Board members arrive with guarded faces. Alistair calls an emergency family meeting in the library. Isabella sits in a high-backed chair, hands folded. She keeps her breathing even. She is not used to rooms that smell like old leather and money. Lena is brought in last, still wearing last night's rage-like perfume. Martha follows, eyes down, careful. Roger Petro is not here, but his shadow sits in every corner. Alistair holds the kinship report. We have confirmed it with an independent lab. Isabella is my granddaughter. Lena slams her hands on the table. That paper means nothing. I lived here. I breathed here. I gave you everything. She is a stranger. Isabella speaks without raising her voice. You gave him a lie. You gave yourself a crown you stole. Lena whips toward her. You want everything. You want my rooms, my clothes, my friends, my future. You are greedy. I want what is mine. Isabella meets her stare. If you had lived an honest life, you could have walked away with dignity. You chose cruelty instead. Aunt Celeste, pale and angry, looks at Martha. How could you do this? How could you swap babies? Martha swallows. I was young. Alistair's eyes flash. Do not insult me with excuses. You did not do this alone. Name your accomplices. Martha's gaze flicks to Lena, then away. Self-preservation wins. Roger Petro. He planned it. He said if my daughter grew up as a Cavendish, he could use her later. He wanted access to the family holdings. The word holdings turns the board members tense. Isabella notices. Power is a language here, and she is learning it fast. Alistair's voice hardens. Lena Cavendish no longer exists. You will not use our name again. Lena jerks as if struck. You cannot do that. My passport, my accounts, my contracts, everything says Cavendish. Not anymore. Alistair nods to the family attorney. File the paperwork today. Freeze all trust distributions. Terminate the household allowances. Revoke access to the estate. Lena laughs, broken. So you are killing me. You tried to kill the truth. Alistair answers. Now you face it. Isabella watches Lena's mouth open, searching for a weapon. Lena turns to Martha, desperate. You are my mother. Tell him not to do this. Martha keeps her hands clasped. You are not my problem anymore. Lena's eyes burn with hate. You are all monsters. Isabella leans forward. No, you are a thief who got caught. The attorney slides documents across the table. Alistair signs with steady strokes. Each signature is a door closing. The meeting ends with two guards escorting Lena and Martha to the front gate. Lena fights, screams, throws insults until her voice turns raw. Martha walks without looking back. At the gate, Lena spins toward Isabella one last time. You think you win because you have paper and a name, but you do not know how to live in this world. You will choke on it. Isabella steps closer, not afraid. Then watch me breathe. The iron gate shuts with a heavy final sound. Lena stands outside in the cold morning, stripped of her name, her money, her audience. Inside the mansion, Alistair turns to Isabella. His expression is still stern, but his voice shifts, almost unwillingly. You said you did not come here to beg. Good. This family does not respect begging. If you want your place, take it. Isabella nods. I will. That afternoon, Alastair brings her to the Cavendish Group headquarters. Glass towers. Private elevators. A boardroom with a long table and sharper smiles. This is your seat. Alastair says. Isabella sits. The chair does not feel too big. It feels overdue. As the meeting begins, Isabella notices two men exchange a look when her name is introduced. A hidden signal. A private fear. Roger Petro has planted roots here. Isabella writes the names down in her mind. Then she looks up and smiles politely. The hunt continues. Lena sleeps in a cheap motel the first week after exile, staring at stains on the ceiling and listening to traffic like a mocking ocean. Her phone is almost useless. Her cards decline. Her contacts do not answer. The people who once begged for her invite now avoid her name like a disease. On the 7th night, she walks into a small bar in Queens, hair tucked under a cap, sunglasses on, hunger burning hotter than shame. A man waits in the back booth, alone, wearing a gray suit that looks expensive even in bad light. Roger Petro smiles when he sees her. You look different without the mansion. Lena sits hard. You promised me I would never lose. You said I was protected. I said you were useful. Roger lifts his glass. You are still useful if you stop crying. Lena's fingers curl. They took everything from me. Roger leans in. Then we take it back. Cavendish Group is a fortress, but every fortress has a gate. You know the mansion. You know the habits. You know where the weak points are. Lena's eyes sharpen. Isabella. Yes. Roger's voice turned smooth. The new girl thinks evidence is a shield. We will show her evidence is only paper and paper burns. They make a plan. Lena will sneak into the estate to steal internal documents. Roger will use them to pressure the board, to shake markets, to force Alastair into panic. In return, Lena gets her name back, and revenge. 2 nights later, Lena climbs the hedge line near the service entrance. She knows the camera blind spots because she once demanded them adjusted for her privacy. She moves like a ghost, hatred guiding her. But Isabella has been learning too. In the control room, Samuel watches the cameras. His finger taps a quiet alert. She is here. Isabella stands beside him, face calm. Let her in. Samuel hesitates. You are sure? Yes. Isabella answers. If she wants to steal, give her something worth stealing. Just not the truth. Lena slips into the study, opens drawers, finds a folder marked expansion plan. She laughs silently. Too easy. She snaps photos, grabs a flash drive and slips out the way she came. She does not notice the small red light in the corner. The next morning, Roger receives the files. He studies the plan, then calls his investors with excitement. He moves money fast, hungry for a comeback. He buys into a risky overseas venture described in the documents, convinced the Cavendish Group is about to dominate a new market. Within 2 weeks, the venture collapses. The plan is fiction. The partners vanish. The investments implode. Roger's company bleeds billions. He slams his fist into his desk. She set me up. Lena is in his office, pacing. You said she was weak. She is not weak. Roger's eyes narrow. She is angry, and anger is useful when it is controlled. Lena stops, breathing hard. Then we ruin her reputation, make the city hate her. So they pivot. A series of anonymous posts appear online. They call Isabella grifter. They call her violent. They mock her upbringing, claiming she grew up in a poor neighborhood and learned to lie. They spread rumors that she seduced her way into the family, that she is using the DNA report to steal a fortune. Lena watches the post spread and finally feels a taste of power again. Until Isabella responds. At a press conference outside Cavendish Group headquarters, Isabella stands in a tailored suit, hair smooth, expression controlled. Cameras point at her like weapons. A reporter shouts. Isabella, are you manipulating the family for money? Isabella looks into the crowd. If you want the truth, I will give it to you. She gestures. Screens behind her light up with photos and documents, one after another. A school incident report of Lena assaulting a classmate. A receipt trail of Lena charging obscene amounts to family accounts. A video of Lena screaming at staff, throwing a glass, laughing when someone flinches. A ledger of money moved quietly into offshore accounts, signed by Lena under the Cavendish name. The crowd murmurs, shocked. Isabella's voice stays even. For 23 years, Lena lives as a Cavendish. She enjoys what she does not earn. She harms people because she thinks she is untouchable. When I return, she frames me for theft. When she is exposed, she spreads lies. So here is my answer. She pauses, letting silence sharpen the moment. Lena, the more you fight, the worse you fall. I will not stop. I will not get tired. I will not be afraid. The statement goes viral. The public turns. Sympathy shifts toward Isabella. Lena becomes a headline, a villain, a cautionary tale. In a coffee shop, Lena reads the comments, hands shaking. Someone recognizes her and spits on the floor near her shoes. Outside, she hears laughter. Not at a joke. At her. She pulls her cap lower, eyes burning. She calls Roger. Stop playing with money. She hisses. We need something real. Roger's voice is low. We do. We need leverage. Something she loves. Lena thinks of Isabella's adoptive mother, the woman Isabella calls Grace. The woman Isabella visits on weekends, the woman who never learned to hide her kindness. Lena smiles for the first time in weeks. Then we take her. Isabella arrives at her adoptive mother's small house in Brooklyn with a bag of groceries and a quiet ache in her chest. The neighborhood is familiar. Kids ride bikes. Neighbors wave. The world feels honest here. Grace Miller opens the door, eyes bright. Bella, you do not have to bring so much. Isabella steps in and hugs her. I like bringing it. Grace touches Isabella's hair, gentle. You look tired. Isabella forces a small smile. I am fine. Work is heavy. Grace does not press. She makes tea. She tells Isabella about a neighbor's new puppy and a church bake sale. Small stories that build a shield against the mansion's cold politics. Isabella listens and remembers why she is fighting. Not for chandeliers. Not for titles. For safety. For the right people to live without fear. When she leaves that evening, Samuel waits by the car. His expression is alert. We are being watched. He says. Isabella does not stop walking. By who? Same vehicle twice this week. Samuel answers. We can move Grace somewhere safer. Isabella's throat tightens. Not yet. If we move her, we confirm she is leverage. Samuel nods. Then we build a net. Back at Cavendish Group, Isabella moves faster. She reviews internal audits, traces suspicious communications, and finds 3 employees who exchange encrypted messages with an outside contact. She calls Alistair. We have moles. She says. Alistair is silent a moment. Names. Isabella gives them. Alistair's voice turns to steel. Remove them. Within a day, security escorts the 3 employees out. Isabella replaces them with people she interviews personally. She begins building alliances on the board, not with charm, but with results. A struggling division turns profitable under her new plan. A risky investment is cancelled before it becomes disaster. The board starts to look at her differently. Not as a lost girl. As a leader. Roger feels it. He watches stock movement and board whispers with growing rage. His first plan failed. His second plan backfired. Now he chooses violence. Late one night, Isabella receives a call. Grace's phone number flashes on the screen, but the voice is not Grace. A man speaks calmly. Isabella Cavendish. We have your mother. Isabella's blood turns ice. Put her on. A muffled sound, then Grace's voice, shaking. Bella, do not do what they say. The line cuts. The man returns. Tomorrow night. Bring the legal complaint you filed against Roger Petro and bring a signed statement withdrawing it. Bring also a transfer of 10% of Cavendish Group shares into a trust we control. Isabella's breath stays controlled. If she is harmed, you get nothing. The man laughs softly. You are in no position to bargain, come alone. A warehouse by the river. You will receive the address. The call ends. Samuel is already in the room. He must have been listening through the security monitor. We do not go alone. Isabella looks at him, eyes steady. We go smart. They plan in the Cavendish security office, maps on the table, radios tested, exit routes traced. Samuel brings a small team, all vetted. Isabella calls Alistair and tells him everything. Alistair's face tightens, but his voice is firm. This is my family too. I will not let them touch her. You cannot come. Isabella says. They will expect your resources. They will prepare for your usual style. Alistair pauses, then nods. Then use mine without showing it. Take what you need. The next night, Isabella arrives at the warehouse in a dark car. Rain taps the windows. The city feels like a cage of lights. She steps out with a folder in her hands, acting as if she is alone. Inside her jacket, a tiny transmitter hums, sending her heartbeat to Samuel's earpiece. 2 men escort her inside. The air smells of oil and rust. In the center of the warehouse, Grace is tied to a chair, face bruised but eyes fierce. Lena stands nearby, hair messy, lipstick sharp, a stolen elegance trying to survive. She smiles when she sees Isabella. You finally understand. Lena says. This is how power works. Isabella keeps her voice calm. Where is Roger? A door opens. Roger steps out of the shadows, applauding slowly. Welcome, Isabella. You have done well for someone raised without training. Isabella lifts the folder. I brought what you asked. Roger approaches. Put it down. Isabella sets the folder on a crate. Release her first. Roger chuckles. No, you sign, then she walks. Lena leans close to Grace, fingers on the rope. Say goodbye, your daughter is about to choose money over you. Grace spits, a small act of defiance. She will choose justice. Isabella looks at Grace and her calm breaks just enough to show fire. I will bring you home. Roger gestures. A guard shoves a pen toward Isabella. Isabella takes it, but does not sign. Instead, she speaks, clear and loud. Samuel. The lights snap off. In the darkness, footsteps thunder. A flash of light bursts as a tactical lamp cuts the black. Samuel and his team flood the space, moving fast and controlled. A guard lunges. Samuel takes him down. Another guard raises a weapon, but a stun device crackles and he collapses. Lena screams. No. Isabella runs to Grace, hands shaking as she unties the ropes. Are you hurt? Grace swallows. I am alive. Roger bolts toward a side door. Isabella turns and Samuel is already chasing him. Lena tries to grab Isabella's hair, desperate, wild. Isabella catches her wrist, twists, and pushes her away. Lena stumbles, hits the floor, then looks up with pure hatred. You think you are better than me. Lena spits. I think I am done with you. Isabella answers. Police sirens rise outside. Alistair's hidden resources arrive at the perfect time. The net closes. Roger is pinned to the ground as officers cuff him. He snarls up at Isabella. This is not over. Isabella meets his stare. It is. The city watches the trial like a spectacle, but Isabella treats it like surgery. Precise. Clean. Unforgiving. Roger Petros sits at the defense table, suit wrinkled, eyes cold. Lena sits beside her appointed attorney, face pale, hands clenched. Martha has a separate hearing date, and she avoids cameras like sunlight. Isabella walks into the courtroom with Samuel at her side and Alistair behind her. Grace sits in the front row, wrapped in a scarf, alive. The judge calls the case. The prosecutor lays out charges: baby swap conspiracy, fraud, kidnapping, attempted extortion, and long-term financial crimes tied to Roger's businesses. Witness after witness speaks. Nurses who remember a strange man offering money. A former employee of Roger who saw payments. A digital forensic specialist who traced the recorded call. Security staff who saw Lena plant the necklace. Police who raided the warehouse. The defense tries to paint Isabella as vengeful. They call her a climber. They question her motives. They suggest she is exaggerating to take control of Cavendish Group. Isabella takes the stand. The attorney asks. You grew up poor, correct? I grew up without the Cavendish fortune. Isabella answers. And now you want it. I want the life that was stolen. Isabella says. And I want people to stop getting away with crimes because they wear nice clothes. Lena's attorney leans forward. You hate Lena because she lived the life you wanted. Isabella looks at Lena. Lena's eyes are red, angry, desperate. I do not hate her for living. Isabella answers. I hold her accountable for hurting people. She frames me for theft. She lies to destroy my reputation. She helps kidnap my mother. That is not a misunderstanding. That is violence. Lena snaps, unable to stay silent. You stole my life. The judge bangs the gavel. Order. Isabella keeps her gaze steady. You are not entitled to what you stole. During a recess, Lena is escorted past Isabella in the hallway. Lena hisses through clenched teeth, voice shaking. If you did not show up, I would still be Cavendish. Isabella does not blink. If you did not steal a baby, you would still be you. Lena's face twists. I hate you. Isabella's voice drops, quiet and clear. Then hate me. Hate does not change facts. Back in court, the final blow comes from an unexpected place. Martha takes the stand in exchange for a reduced sentence. Her hands tremble, but her eyes stay calculating. I did it. Martha says. I swapped the babies. Roger planned it. I carried it out. I raised Lena with lies. I told her she deserved everything because she was special. I was wrong. Lena jerks up. You are lying. Martha does not look at her. You were never special. You were convenient. The jury watches, stunned. The prosecutor plays the warehouse audio. Lena's voice is captured screaming, demanding signatures, threatening Grace. The courtroom hears her cruelty in her own words. When closing arguments end, the jury leaves. Hours pass. Isabella sits beside Grace, holding her hand. Alastair sits behind them, silent, eyes heavy with regret. At last, the jury returns. Guilty. The word hits like thunder. The judge delivers sentencing weeks later. Roger receives life in prison for the combined crimes. Lena receives 15 years for conspiracy and multiple related charges. Martha receives 5 years for her role in the baby swap. Lena sobs when the sentence is read. She turns toward Isabella, eyes wild. I will never forgive you. Isabella answers calmly. I did not come for forgiveness. I came for the truth. As guards lead Lena away, Lena's scream echoes down the hallway, thin and fading, like the last breath of a lie. Power feels different when you earn it. Months after the trial, Isabella stands in the Cavendish Group boardroom as the new chief executive, her vote secured by performance and trust, not pity. The company is stable. The internal leaks are sealed. The markets respond to clarity. Alastair sits at the far end of the table, no longer the center of gravity, but still the foundation. He watches Isabella speak, and the pride in his eyes is quiet, not loud. Isabella does not celebrate with champagne. She celebrates with work. She restructures failing divisions, invests in transparent audits, and refuses deals that smell like easy corruption. She pushes the company into international expansion with careful partners, and the profits rise without the poison. In the mansion, she changes the atmosphere too. Staff are treated with respect. Contracts are honored. Safety protocols are tightened. The family is forced to face what they ignored for decades. She moves Grace into a guest wing with a garden view. Grace protests at first. I do not belong in a palace. Isabella hugs her. You belong with me. On weekends, Isabella visits a community center in Brooklyn where she once volunteered as a teenager. She funds scholarships for kids whose lives are shaped by other people's greed. She establishes a foundation focused on child welfare and hospital oversight, to prevent the kind of crime that shaped her own life. At a major industry gala, the same kind of night where Lena tried to crush her, Isabella stands on stage in a dark blue gown. Cameras catch her calm smile, her steady posture, her refusal to be small. She speaks into the microphone. I once lost everything because someone decided my life was a tool. Isabella says. I grew up thinking survival was the best I could do. Then I learned that survival is only the beginning. The real victory is building a life no one can steal again. Applause rises, heavy and sincere. In the crowd, Alistair watches, eyes bright. He does not clap loudly. He simply nods, once, as if sealing a promise. After the speech, a young reporter approaches Isabella. Do you feel sorry for Lena? Isabella pauses. She thinks of the girl who could have walked away when the truth came out. She thinks of the woman who chose cruelty every time it was offered. I feel sorry for the child she could have been. Isabella says. Not for the choices she made. The reporter asks. And Martha? Isabella's voice stays steady. Martha made a plan and tried to survive. She survived by destroying someone else. That is not survival. That is theft. Later that night, Isabella stands on the mansion balcony, city lights in the distance, wind cool against her skin. Grace joins her, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders. You did it. Grace whispers. Isabella looks out at the skyline. I took back my name. Grace smiles. More than that, you built a new one. Inside, the mansion is still grand, still expensive, still filled with echoes. But now, the echo that matters is Isabella's own voice. Calm. Certain. Unbreakable. She turns back toward the lights, toward her future, and walks in like she owns it, because she does.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.